This is a super efficient step-by-step guide for No Man's Sky's Corvette Expedition aimed at people with busier lives who need to get it done fast, those who only want the rewards, or those who just want to find some ways to improve their speedrun. This guide takes into account inventory management as well as tracking the items required to do everything. Due to this, where possible, you should not claim milestone rewards unless it is mentioned, or your inventory may become filled, slowing things down, and you may end up even losing items you need. The way you begin this expedition matters. There are 3 ways to begin where you should look at things differently. The first is if you start this expedition as a new save, choosing the expedition as a game mode. This is its own save, and after the expedition finishes, it will convert into a normal mode save that you may continue on with. Due to this, you should utilise slot augments as they are rewarded, as well as things like putting more care into your Corvette, etc. is valuable as you'll be keeping it. If you start the expedition by the terminal next to the Nexus from an existing save, then this expedition subsave is temporary and it is best to focus on the rewards you can take back to your main save. I have a video that goes heavily into min-maxing this, allowing you to reap insane rewards on top of what is obvious. A big thing is to back out of the screen when you are rewarded inventory slots, as if you back out without using them, you'll be given augment items to use later which can be brought back to the main save. Lastly, if you are doing this expedition from an existing abandoned mode save, you should absolutely take every opportunity you can. Not only are slots super valuable, but S and X class technologies are beyond just valuable. They are insanely rare and abandoned, so farming nanites and technology to take back is a huge deal. You can take back more than the terminal allows by default by even loading the tech into your multi-tool and ships to then copy and package on the main side and put into your main ship. Don't forget taking back stacks of suspicious tech and arms via the terminal to open on the main abandoned side for crazy quantities of tech. Upon initializing, sort out your exosuit and multi-tool technology. Just things like putting jetpack and hazard or life support into supercharged slots, and if you have a supercharged slot in your multi-tool, then putting the mining beam in it for efficiency. Next, find a copper deposit roughly on the way to your ship and gather this list of items before reaching your ship. 80 of the carbon is for refining fuel. 150 of the oxygen is for life support. It's way overkill, but good to be safe, though you could probably get 100 less and be absolutely fine. When getting the copper, remember that the smaller your terrain manipulator beam is, the slower but more efficient the mining is, so keep it small and you'll hopefully only need 1 deposit. At the ship's crash site, craft the metal plating. Then build a portable refiner. Fuel the refiner, then put 196 copper to refine into 98 chromatic metal. While that refines, check your ship's inventory. If the rocket launcher is fine, package it and put it into your exosuit. If it's damaged, you may wish to consider getting 100 more carbon to refine the condensed carbon and 100 more copper to fix the launcher so you can package it and take it with you. Once the copper is finished refining, refine 200 carbon into condensed. It'll be 300 carbon if you're fixing the rockets. Now get into your ship and go through the dialogue to get the blueprint and craft an orbital uplink. Grab your condensed carbon and refiner once they're done and fix the package rocket if you need to. Then, ensuring nothing is left behind, use the orbital link in your inventory. Claim the rewards from the link to the stars and use a teleporter to get to one of the Corvette building pads. Build a basic Corvette using the parts you were given. Now go inside it and build the mission board. Enter photo mode via the quick menu and go outside the ship, getting the whole Corvette in frame, and take a screenshot using the in-game photo mode and its correct keys, making sure not to use the platform screenshotting function. If done correctly, it will trigger aperture. Claim the rewards from both ship architecture and aperture. Now go to the Galactic Trade Terminal and sell the Gravitino balls and albumin pearls in your inventory. You can also get rid of any extra ferrite dust, dihydrogen and sodium you may have picked up. Go to the Starship Technology vendor and sell the pre-packaged shell greaser unit. Then buy a B-class hyperdrive upgrade. If your ship has supercharged slots, then also buy a C-class hyperdrive. If it does not, save, reload and buy a second B-class. Install the packaged rocket launcher and leave the station. We are going to destroy some Centaur interceptors. The idea here is that we will aggro them by shooting the space station when they fly toward us. We can quickly deplete their shields with the photon cannon and then almost fully destroy their unshielded form with a single rocket. This is a very good early game tactic for space battles and works very well. Utilising both weapons allows no downtime due to overheating. It is fine with just the photon cannon, but you'll need to think a little more. Also, if you take too much damage, just jump out of the pilot seat for a moment to drop aggro. Do this until you complete Anarchy. Claim the rewards from Anarchy. Now fix the hyperdrive in your Corvette. Install both of the hyperdrive upgrades and have the upgrade with the greatest range in your supercharged slot if you have one, and have the other 2 modules touch it. In case you wish to keep things minimalist, you will not be needing the hydraulic wiring or the amino chambers. However, if you did want to build a refinery in your Corvette at some point, you should keep them. Now it's time to do our first warp. Warp to the Rendezvous 1 system, Ganarish. Upon entering the system, shoot the asteroid in front of you until heavyweight triggers. Now fly into the space station. Head right to the station core at the back and interact to complete Resist 1. Get back to your ship, leave the station and pulse to the blighted planet Geno. Fly down to Geno's surface and hover above it. Get out of the pilot seat and open the back of your ship without getting out. Use your analysis visor to scan 3 fauna to complete Wild Things. Now claim the rewards from both Contact the Sky and Wild Things. Install the X-Class Hyperdrive upgrade, placing the highest of all upgrades into the supercharged slot if you have one, making a cube with the Hyperdrive main module in the opposite corner to the strongest upgrade. Now use the echolocator you just received. Fly to the harmonic camp it marked. Hover above the camp and beam down from your Corvette. You don't need the loot, but looting the scrap around the camp can give some valuable items, though delete any runaway mold, living slime or rusted metal, etc. to keep your inventory from clogging up. Unlock the camp's terminal, then unlock the multi-tool cabinet. Grab the multi-tool from the cabinet to complete a reclaimed weaponry. Now use your analysis visor to find and mark a dissonant resonator. Beam up to your ship and fly over. Then shoot the centaurs around it. You want to kill at least 4 in this little outing. You need to be very quick, as soon as you start shooting it will start calling interceptors as you are in a ship, and so you'll want to get out of the pilot seat before they appear. You could also beam down and engage face to face if you wish. Installing the Scatter Blaster and his S-Class upgrade will help in this. Once you've killed 4 to 8 and they are no longer after you, fly to these coordinates, plus 51.56 by minus 129.74. At the coordinates you will find a Sentinel pillar. If you didn't trigger Undying Horde at the Dissonant Resonator, there are 4 or so Sentinels around this pillar. Be sure to destroy them with your ship or multi-tool before shutting down the pillar. Beam down and interact with the pillar's terminal and shut down the Sentinel forces. Before you head off, destroying the 3 structures around the pillar will give you some solid loot. Also, build the portal refiner and refine the living pearls into gold, making sure that you fuel it with carbon and have 40 carbon left over. You can pick up then delete the refiner after the gold is done. You shouldn't need it again. Head up into space and warp to Rendezvous 2. Fly into the space station. Head to the back and interact with the station core to complete Resist 2. Claim the rewards from Resist 2 and Undying Horde. Whether your X-Class Hyperdrive upgrade has warp cell efficiency or not determines how much chromatic metal, ferrite dust you need to buy here, so buy from the list on screen that matches your situation. Do the same for this crafting list. This is because if it doesn't have it, you'll need up to 4 more warp cells to get to where you're going. The orbital uplinks take a slot each, so store them in your ship. You actually only need 4, but it's good to have an extra in case you get stuck for some reason. Now add 2 of any of the hab or walkways you just got to your Corvette. Keep in mind that if you attach a hab or walkway to the area where your mission board or anything else is built in your existing hab, or move the existing with something built inside, it will most likely disappear without refunding your resources. So be careful with that. Though you don't actually need the mission board, so it's not that big of an issue. Now leave the station and pulse to the Hyperborean planet Zakra. As soon as you enter pulse, leave the pilot's seat, engaging the autopilot to complete cruising on the way. On the way, claim the rewards from Advance Expand. Install the prepackaged hazmat gauntlets. Upon arrival, hover over the surface and use your analysis visor to find and mark frostwarp patches, darkside deposits, and salvage containers. You need to gather 400 frost crystal, 200 darkside, and 5 Corvette modules from salvage containers. With all that done, build 4 living walls in your Corvette and then 8 frostwarp plants in them. These plants will take 10 minutes to fully grow, so keep an eye on when you go past them and just gather them all when they're grown. Beware that when you harvest the first one, it will appear to harvest all of them. This is just a visual bug. All of them can still be harvested to complete silent running without waiting any longer. Right, head up to space and warp to the Rendezvous 3 system. Upon arrival, ponder just what exactly a ZES is and why it's a problem. Then stand up from your pilot seat and use an orbital uplink to teleport to the station. In the station, interact with the station core to complete Resist 3. Now leave the station and warp to the Rendezvous 4 system. Upon entering the system, pulse toward the verdant planet Ulchesp Gamma. Stop just after the atmosphere over some coastline and leave the pilot seat. Ensure the orbital uplink is in your inventory, then open the back hatch and jump out. It's going to take a good minute or 2 to land, and don't worry, you won't take damage, so just sit back and enjoy the view unless it's storming as usual. Once landed, hopefully you fell long enough for star diving to trigger. Dig a tunnel into the ground just above sea level to shield you from the weather and sentinels. Then dig a little hole that goes below the waterline. Now claim the rewards from grounded. Install the pre-packaged fishing rig. Now catch 3 fish for proteins from the sea. With your fish caught, use the orbital uplink to teleport to the station. If you forgot to put it in your inventory, just call your ship down and do it then. In the station, interact with the station core to complete Resist 4. Now claim the rewards from these 4 milestones. Resist 1, Heavyweight, Flight Path, which should absolutely have triggered by now, and Resist 4. Now go to the Corvette building terminal by your ship and trade some parts you have for a high energy shield. It can be any of the 3 shield core modules. Also, for what you should trade, do not trade your deflector shield, high energy shield, or one of your engine modules if you have one. You'll need to build 6 engines on your Corvette later, so you'll want 3 total at this point, including the parts you have and what's on your ship at the moment. If you didn't get a 3rd engine before, don't worry, we'll just buy one later. Now build all 3 modules on your Corvette to complete Advance Defend. Claim the rewards from Advance Defend. Now claim the Phase Beamer Rain torpedo launcher on your Corvette to complete Advance Destroy. Claim the rewards from Advance Destroy. At this point you could take any of those shields or weapons off if you wish for your Corvette's appearance. You should also put any of the Corvette parts in your exosuit and ship inventory into the Corvette part cache before leaving the space station. Then build the conflict scanner in your ship. If you need to make space, you can package the rocket launcher. If that is not an option, then a C-Class hyperdrive module. Now warp to Rendezvous 5. On arrival, leave the pilot seat and use an orbital uplink to teleport to the station. In the station, interact with the station's core to complete Resist 5. Claim the rewards from Resist 5. Back at your ship, if you haven't already, be sure to harvest the Frostwort. If you have been super speedy and it hasn't yet been 10 minutes, and you aren't doing a time speedrun, I would suggest making a drink or doing something for a few minutes until they pop, as we need to build the nutrient unit, and if you only have the 1 room available, that means goodbye 1 living wall. In the nutrition unit, cook 1 of the fish, placing the finished product and the other fish into the ingredient storage. You'll also no longer need any of the silver, hermetic seals, silica powder or carbon, so keep, sell, destroy, whatever you want. Pop to the Corvette building terminal and add 2 more reactors to the Corvette. You receive 2 from Resist 5. Once Advance Heart triggers, claim its rewards. Place any Corvette part in your inventory into the cache before leaving. Fly out of the station and activate the anomaly detector. Enter pulse in any direction. Exit pulse when the point of interest alarm goes off. Now claim the rewards from Dwarfed. Use the emergency signal scanner you just received and enter pulse again. Exit pulse when the alarm goes off and go to dock with the derelict freighter. Once docked, open the back hatch and drift outside, but not too far. We're going to drift for 30 seconds to complete extra vehicular, and while doing so we can sort our inventory if not too far from the ship. If you plan to loot this derelict, then free as much exosuit space as possible. Regardless of whether you do, ensure that you have iron batteries and life support gel in your exosuit. Once sorted, move to just above the landing pad of the derelict and fly down once extra vehicular has triggered. This derelict has 10 rooms, no bug enemies, no turrets and only a few floating green jellyfish. The minimum you need to achieve for the Space Wreck milestone is to complete the 3 terminals, so run through to the first, on the way checking datapads until you get the credentials, go through the dialogue on Terminal 1, get to Terminal 2, and do that with the credentials. Doing both will give you the captain's log and crew manifest. Then get to the final room and pick a reward option from the engineering terminal. If you're doing this from an existing abandoned mode save, then the cargo bulkheads or technology are completely useless. Well, you could sell the technology before going back, I suppose. Honestly, the Corvette parts are easier to get from salvage than the 500 to 600 nanites from the nanite option, so that is usually the best if not freighter bulkheads. Completing the 3 terminals will trigger Space Wreck, at which point you can teleport back to the beginning. Get back on your Corvette. Pulse briefly away and then enter the galactic map. You are now looking for a pirate-controlled system, and that's why you built the conflict scanner. You have 2 options. Either look at yellow systems until you see the skull under conflict after expanding the tooltip with R, or use the conflict filter and look at the now red filter planets until you find a skull and are able to warp to it. Once you found one, warp. Warping into this system, if you have warp cell efficiency and a high enough light year range, will certainly trigger a freighter battle. I would suggest not using an orbital uplink and either defeating the pirates or ignoring them and flying right into the station. The orbital uplink will get you in the station, but it will also put your Corvette on the third pad from the vendors, and that's a long walk without teleporters. In the station, head to the vendor and buy all available contraband items. I'll have a list of all contraband on screen, but it's essentially the top 3 items they sell. Now claim the rewards from off the radar. Install the emergency warp unit in your ship. You may have to package the conflict scanner for room. Now leave the station and activate the emergency warp unit via the quick menu. It's in the far left option where you toggle perspective and multi-tools. If you don't have awful luck, you'll be in a standard system. If so, leave the pilot's seat and use an orbital uplink to teleport to the station. In the station, sell your contraband to complete under their noses. Claim the rewards from Resist 3. Now, you just got 3 engine parts. You should have the 2 engines you got at the beginning on your Corvette and hopefully another engine in the cache that you picked up from salvage. However, if you don't have the extra one, you can buy one from the Corvette building terminal. The Pyro Boost Thruster is only 1 million units, which you can easily afford. Alternatively, you could trade parts for an engine to keep your cash. With your 6 total engines, build them all on your Corvette to trigger Advanced Move. Congrats, you completed the expedition. Feel free to remove the asymmetrical engine mess you just made. There are 2 optional milestones left. You of course don't need to complete them to get all rewards. However, the first hitchhiker can be done easily by turning on multiplayer and just sitting in a rendezvous station until someone flies in. Then just jump in their Corvette. They'll probably be fine with it and fly you off to complete the milestone. The other in Phase 5 is a community milestone, meaning that everyone signing station cores adds to its completion, and so you'll just need to wait for that to complete before you can claim the Quicksilver it gives, which I believe has happened already now. Lastly, for maximising the loot you get from this expedition, even now you've completed the milestones, you can get crazy extra rewards if you know what you're doing, and for that you should check this guide. I go deep into everything like it's never been covered before. Thanks all. Peace.